welcome LabCoatAgents to another edition with StreetText. And we've got some great people on here today who are going to share a lot of what their successes are. And we also have some of the coaches who can help give us some more information too. And do remember that we will also have this on the YouTube channel. So if for whatever reason you can only be on for the next 30 minutes, don't miss this opportunity to learn. And we will definitely have this live on our YouTube channel. So welcome everybody. And let's just start with some quick introductions. Janky, I'll start with you.
Oh, okay. I'm Janki Patel with eXp Realty. I'm the team leader for the Janki Patel team. And I'm the top moderator with LabCoatAgents, our favorite Facebook group. And been doing amazing with StreetText. I've been with StreetText only for about 1 year and 2 months now, Marcus. Yeah, about 1 year and 2 months. And I love. I can't share enough with you guys. And being in the great company of Jen and Marcus, I am looking forward to this, Logan.
Awesome. Hey, real quick, also tell us where your market is.
My market is Northern California, Bay Area, representing Bay Area. Yep, right there. Marcus used to live in Los Gatos. So yes, been here for several years. I love it. This is where I grew up. Know the area in and out. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. How about you, Jen?
Jenifer Salter with eXp Realty also. I've been with StreetText for about 2 years at this point. My ROI is about 17 with them. I love them. And yeah, I'm in the Raleigh, North Carolina area. So I serve all of the Triangle area.
Perfect. And Marcus, one of our coaches.
Sorry, I was just putting everything in the insider group for everybody to see. I am originally from the Bay Area as well, Los Gatos, California. Cal Poly graduate and now a dual citizen of the great Canada and the United States. So living in Parksville, BC on Vancouver Island, and I kind of help everybody convert their leads. So
yep.
And last but certainly not least, Logan.
Yeah, my name is Logan, coach here at StreetText. Been here for 6 years, I think, something like that. I sold real estate locally in Kelowna for many, many years before that. Joined StreetText kind of as a, just consultant, kind of see what's going on and just can never see myself ever leaving, join the guys like Marcus and Steve and John, and obviously the growing team now. And I just generally never met a group of people that, and this sounds cheesy, but love what we do more than this group of individuals. So, I just never thought it possible to sit behind a computer all day, every day for as long as we do now. And I couldn't imagine doing anything different. And being able to help, Jen and Janky and our kind of clients now grow their business, and we get a lot of people like both of them, of course, that they know what they're doing, right? But being able to meet, a collaborative group of individuals, they can even reach new heights, which is just, it's so fun to be able to see our clients' journeys. And that's kind of what keeps me going.
Awesome. And in case you guys don't know me, my name's Brian Curtis, and I run a company called Creative Coaching and Consulting, and that's a real estate coaching company, as well as I run a real estate team in Arkansas, and I actually live in Boulder, Colorado. So, but excited, I've been a StreetText user now. As a matter of fact, Marcus was my coach initially when he was doing that, and it's a great deal. So, all right, let's get started. Let's just talk about some best practices that, I know that I'm going to go to Jenifer, because one of the things that I love about that you said in your introduction is your ROI. So, one of the things I think is very important is that we track our numbers. So maybe you could just tell us a little bit about what you're doing with it and how that's working for you, and how you're getting, by the way, a 17 ROI. For those of you who don't know what that means for every dollar that Jenifer spends, she only makes $17, which, for me, if I'm at least at 3, I'm happy. So 17 is a pretty darn good number. So.
Well, first of all, Brian, thank you so much. But I am going to tell you, I come from a teaching background. So what's really funny about that is I knew nothing about ROI. I don't know if Marcus caught on, like, wait, Jenifer doesn't know ROI. I actually came on to LabCoatAgents and you taught me what my ROI was. We did a little crunch numbers. You remember that? So since then, I've made it very intentional. And I think it's really funny you said that, because I think the number one thing I've learned in business from transitioning from teaching to real estate is if you want to make it in business, you have to keep learning new things and make yourself intentional. So you introducing the ROI conversation to me has made me more intentional about tracking it. So thank you. That's very funny. But yeah, you taught me how to do that. Awesome. So I don't even remember what the question was. You asked me how I'm so intentional. Was that the question?
Yeah, I just want to talk about some of the things that you're doing to get your 17 ROI, because I think it's, again, I don't think there's an agent in America who would go, 17's not good enough. So,
Right. Well, for me, I really think there's three things: time, convenience, and money, right? You have this scale. So for me, in order to spend less money with my ad spend, because I am a single agent, it's a little less convenient. It takes me a little bit more time. So for me, it's the personal nurturing of relationships. You get the lead on Facebook. I make sure to friend them on Facebook. I send them birthday messages. I comment on their pictures about their kids and their grandkids, and I develop that relationship. I'm sending out letters. Jonky's wonderful with anything that has to do with mail outs. So I've used a lot of those strategies to make sure I do the mailers. My strength really comes with the video, and Marcus is very good with that too. He loves leaving a video message. So
I have examples. I mean, the beauty behind, I think, Jenifer and Janky, that they're almost opposites, but they're just as successful on either end. Jenifer looks to Janky and says, I want to be where you are. And Janky looks to Jenifer and says, I want to do more what you do, right? And they're amazing because, Janky is at the place where she's got the VAs, the ISAs, and she's got the team working for her. Jenifer's at the place where she's got to fill all those roles herself, right? And so, it's great to see what's possible when you can scale.
And I mean, they're both coming from a place of contribution. They're both coming from the same place, but the way that they get there is completely different. And that's the beauty, is you have to understand what's your why? Why did you get into this industry? Was it to sell homes, or was it to help people? Because I mean, they're one and the same, but there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. And if your only goal is to sell homes, you're not helping people. You're helping yourself, and that's not where we need to come. You need to come from a place of value and contribution. And as we say, look at Janky's process, look at Jen's process. They are completely different, but what they're offering is largely the same thing. And they both legitimately just want to help people. And that's really what gets them ahead.
Yeah, and I'll follow that up with the other thing, and knowing these two high-performing women in our industry, one of the things I'm 100% sure of is that they do it with consistency, right? Because that's the key to this whole thing. So everyone's always looking for the magic bullet. Mm-hmm. I promise you, if you ask anyone who having success with StreetText, it's not necessarily about the process. It's that they have a process and they follow it. And we'll go over some of that. So Marcus, you mentioned some video that you have, and I don't know, there might be a great time for you to show.
Yeah.
And by the way, as Marcus loads that up, anyone who's scared of video, Jenifer, were you scared of your first video?
No, not me, but most people are.
Well, sure enough. Janky, how about you? I was scared to death, I'll be honest.
Honestly, no.
All right, just me.
I'm sorry, I wasn't scared because I put myself out there.
Logan was pretty scared. I had to convince him.
I'll jump right in with you, Brian, on that. In all honesty, like I tell this little story. I had my mom was ran a Toastmasters group. So from the age of 4, I had to give a 1-minute speech for every year I was old. So I had to give a speech in front of 500 people, 4 minutes long at 4 years old. Every year it got longer and longer and longer. By the time I was 16, I'm giving like a full-on speech. And the whole idea was, public speaking is going to be so easy, being on video, whatever it was going to be so easy. That's not what happened. It developed this fear of public speaking. I became quite the opposite what was the intended purpose. And, doing all of our original calls and helping people set up ads and doing everything over the phone, that was natural. And I had no problem doing it. I see all of a sudden Marcus is video this and video that. I'm like, you don't need to do that. That sucks. I'm never going to do that. And all of a sudden, him and I are both very competitive, and his numbers are going like this and mine are staying where they are. And I'm thinking, all right. So I kind of bit the bullet and I did it. My first couple of videos, oh boy, were they terrible. They were not good. And, even my mom would look at those and go like, you need to, so they just weren't good. All of a sudden you do a couple more and and it becomes easier. You're not reading from a script any longer. You know what you want to say. So when you're natural at it, you just Zoom was such a challenge for so many people, and they kept on putting their videos off, right? And I'm like, show yourself. You have nothing to hide. I mean, no matter how you look, who cares? No one is judging you. And if they are, that's on them.
So when you do videos, it's like I'm my authentic self. And you know what? Another thing I realized is that people like to see your authentic self. People
Yes, they
don't
do.
like the fakeness. So if you're authentic, if you are coming from contribution and you are looking at what is in the benefit and interest for them, that's it. You've nailed it, right? So when you,
Absolutely.
yeah, and when you're coming from contribution, you're authentic on video or off video, or even a phone call conversation. When you are you and you're showing yourself the genuine you, um, guiding them, educating them. Our three pillars that we stand with is knowledge, education, and guidance for all. Right? That is in our logo. That is, you know, that is our core value, one of our core values, and our mission statement is part of that. Right? So again, consistency and authenticity, whatever that word is, authenticity, and building that relationship coming from contribution.
Absolutely.
I think that's the important thing is people want to deal with people. That's it.
Exactly.
Yourself.
Yeah. It's not 1995 for all of you who are watching. And what I mean by that is we were uber professional back then, right? Which really meant we were stuffy and boring. So
Yeah.
stuffy and boring no longer works. And with that, I'm going to segue and hopefully I won't mess this up this time. Show us some videos, Marcus.
Yeah, and again, let's take it to the psychology of this. When you're on Facebook or Instagram, you're scrolling down your Facebook newsfeed, and most of the time it's happening on your mobile phone. And so how you position that ad is important. What you put there, the image you use, the text copy, of course. You know, we feel at StreetText we've kind of mastered it, but the idea is you got to remember this is interruption-based marketing. This person who's on Facebook today wasn't looking for your services. They weren't looking to buy, they weren't looking to sell, at least not consciously at the moment. So when they click on this particular style of ad, it really is about the first impression you make, because your first impression could be the last.
Amen.
And so you better have something in there that is genuine, authentic, contribution focused, makes them feel like they have someone who's, you know, available to chat, that they can get to know and like, and not, you know, that stuffy suited person on the back end, or even worse, you know, they have to interpret some sort of bot, right? Either as an email and or as a text message. And all of a sudden they're turned off and they just feel like you're just another salesperson trying to get their business. So if you can begin there, you can start understanding why we're talking about video right now, because how do you have body language and tonality otherwise?
Don't work in text message, does it?
No, it doesn't. And so, you know, studies will show, and this is where people almost need to start working from the angle of psychology and winning friends and influencing people and how to, you know, how to create and win a relationship rather than selling. You know, it's not a sales style of lead gen. Conversion of this type of lead gen does not happen from a selling standpoint. You know, it's not the always be closing style that everybody thinks. It's actually always be opening,
Exactly.
right? Always be opening with, hey, you know, let's have a talk. What is just curious to me, and how can I come alongside you and help you, you know, with your goals, with your home's equity.
Right.
And I actually think it's better to start on the angle, that angle. I'm finding going the angle of equity right now is actually even better than trying to talk about them selling their home, because everybody knows that they've got equity in their home right now.
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, let's get into a visual. And so one of the things you'll notice about Jenifer Salter's ad is number one, she's using an ad that says, what's your home really worth? It says, enter your address to receive your home value. And now when you look at these ads, you know, we make it super easy for you to figure out if it's a good ad or not. I mean, based on, you know, you'll have a coach, we'll tell you how much you should be spending based on your market. We'll telling you how these ads should be interpreted, what your costs per lead should be, what your cost per email should be, all this good stuff. But we make it so easy that you never have to visit your Facebook ad manager, okay? We make it so easy that you can launch ads within seconds and know within 24 hours if that ad is worthy of moving forward or whether it should be paused. And then most importantly, we then shift our attention to what the process is gonna be, because what you're gonna imagine is, okay, if I were the homeowner, this is always important to think about. If I'm the homeowner or the buyer or whatever, you know, that type of person is on Facebook clicking on your ad, what do I think I'm getting when I click on it? Probably most likely, I think I'm getting some sort of automated home value. I probably think I'm gonna click on this ad right now. I'm not looking at Jenifer's tiny little picture in the corner. I'm not even realizing Jenifer's a part of this process. I'm just wanting to know what my home is worth. And I'm gonna, I'm assuming that when I go and click on this next button to give you my address that I want analyzed, that, hey, I'm gonna get a home value as soon as I click on analyze my property. Surprise, surprise, no, you're not. The moment that they get to this point is kind of where the rubber hits the road. This is where that person ultimately decides, hey, it's not an instant market value. Am I going to proceed in giving this email? Right? And we have a lot of different scenarios, like where people are like, oh, address only, because your address only is actually collected in your StreetText dashboard. And we can talk about that on a whole nother subject. But this is kind of where I think personally you get to digitally door knock in this world and introduce yourself as if you were at the home. And so that moment, I go and produce my email for that person and give permission to be contacted by email is kind of where I think the rubber hits the road. If you know what you're doing, if you start thinking about the psychology behind this and creating an authentic connection, then you realize that you can have an automatic email shooting off introducing yourself and giving them an opportunity to connect with you. And now you can help frame in why they're not getting an instant market value. And rather they're getting something that's way more custom and tuned to the true market, local, and something that is complimentary. There's no obligation. And hey, it's your way of giving back to the community. So you kind of begin there. Obviously, yes, we ask for more information, the condition of their home, details about their home, sell date, are they just curious? Or immediately, what do we talk about this? So Logan, what do we say about a just curious lead?
Yeah, I mean, just curious is a defense mechanism, right? I mean, just curious is I always liken it to a car lot, right? You don't walk onto a car lot with 80 grand in your pocket, go like, hey, I like the blue one. Can I get that for 80 grand? No, I'm just curious. I'm just checking around, right? You're not ready to make a decision until you're ready to make that decision. And I could be ready to make that decision tomorrow, but I'm just curious until then. Right. But on the other hand, it's also immediately. Immediately is one that I'd almost like to get taken out of there, because immediately is the exact opposite of just curious. And I honestly feel immediately doesn't mean I'm ready immediately. It's I want this information. I want it now.
Exactly.
And those are the kind of clients I like to deal with. So I prefer personally, I look at immediately and just curious, absolutely the same. They're the same person in my view. 1 to 3 months, within 6 plus. Those are people who've actually put some thought towards their timeline. And when I see those, I get considerably more excited. That's what I would prefer to see.
And that being said, Logan and Marcus, I want to talk a little bit about when that lead does come in and the way I do it and the way I handle it, my team handles it, my ISAs handle it versus how Jenifer handles it, right? We do send out a video. They come automatically into my Chime system. And when my ISAs dial a call out, first and foremost, the process is, simple. We send out a CMA, a cloud CMA. They are connected to HomeBot, but we've noticed in HomeBot, the values are off in this area. So we do want to make sure that we send them accurate information. So we'll start a conversation. We'll never go by saying, hey, what is it that you're looking for? Can I come over and check your house out? No, we don't go that angle just yet. We go ahead and we send them what they want. We send them a cloud CMA one-page report. We send them out a letter saying thank you for requesting this information. If there's anything else we can send you, please feel free. And we follow it up with a video, right? So that is our beginner's process. I know Jacqueline asked a question, explain, John Key. I do use Chime for my brokerage, for my extended expansion team. We just started an expansion team in other states. So that is also the brokerage level like Brian uses. And then I use it, for my team here. We've got about 5 buyers agents and about 8 VAs now. We just hired 2 more just this week. So we've got a team of 8 VAs. I don't know if I want to really talk a little more about the VA side of it right now, because I know this is totally about StreetText. So I can definitely text you more information, Gilliam. Yeah, later, I guess.
Yeah, we had another question that said early on, I didn't get to answer it, but if you guys want to take this, I'm with Ylopo, and I was wondering if StreetText would be of value in the sense that both Ylopo and StreetText are social media. Would StreetText still be of value?
Absolutely, because I have both too.
As
Sorry,
do I.
I had to jump in that. I love Ylopo. I love, love, love StreetText. Both of them are very different. But again, it's all bottom line. What does your business plan really say? What do you want to achieve? And, how often do you look at that business plan to really say, hey, I do want to work with buyers. I do from Ylopo. I do want to work with sellers from StreetText and buyers and sellers from both and combine it. That's what we're doing. And like I said, we've just really gone out and expanded every which way we can. So both are amazing.
And I'd like to say, like, it's important to don't just start with one company and expect everything to happen all at once. Test everything, test a bunch of stuff, and do the trials. And correct me if I'm wrong on this one. I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, Ylopo specializes in buyers, right? Whereas we specialize in sellers. We do both for sure, but buyers aren't our specialty. Right. So if you're a buyer's agent, Ylopo sounds like the right place to be. And I know a lot of my clients use both. And
Logan, with StreetText, buyer, don't say there's no buyers in StreetText, because that's how I grew my team. Buyers who are looking to sell, right? And that's how my listings came. And I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing, to where a lot of buyers started coming. We first started with a buyer ad, and then we slowly started doing the listing ads. But the buyer side of the business just went out of control, and we closed about 22 transactions in 1 year. We started in March 2020, right around when the COVID hit, and we closed 22 just with StreetText.
Yeah. One thing to think about right now, I mean, when you're saying both buyers and sellers, as we know, everybody wants to be with sellers right now, but what's the problem? They don't know where they're going to go.
Right.
So they want to sell, but they're like, but where are we going to go? What are we going to buy? And so with that, you have to be prepared on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And so we focus, and we even say, Janky, the clue is everybody who's on Facebook, top of funnel style leads, a lot of these buyers actually, they're looking before they're going to sell. So you're almost closer to the sell cycle there.
Yes.
In many ways, where the sellers most of the time on Facebook are out in the future. Granted, of course, some of them just want to take advantage of the market right now. So that being said, this is why it's a healthy thing to be testing both. And also to understand what the difference is, because what you're seeing right now with the way we set up our seller ads is that it's dynamic versus what Janky's talking about. And I'll show you an example with hers, a Facebook lead ad. And a Facebook lead ad would be something like, like this that she has going, where see all available homes with main floor master in Parkmont, where if you click on it, and you click view homes with the main floor master, it's automatically going to go there. And I already went through your funnel. That's why I didn't put my information up automatically. But if I take any one of yours, it'll auto-populate the name and phone number, just like this. So view homes, and it'll take, well, again, I've used your account too often as a lead. But what should happen is it auto-populates name, phone number, email, and then it redirects them. So it's a great way of getting leads immediately to give you their information, phone number, email, and name. And then with that being said, what you want to have happen is redirect them immediately to that search so that they're getting what they wanted, instant results, instant gratification. And we have a kind of psychology around that too. Is like, oftentimes I think the best thing you could do is give them a list that's overwhelming.
Right.
So that on the other side, you're like, hey, I wanted to get this to be the perfect list for you. Maybe you can tell me a little bit about your perfect price point, amenities, neighborhoods, school districts, anything I should know where I can actually give you something that you get excited about.
Mm-hmm.
That's a strategy. I don't know what the better name for it is, but I always called it white knighting, where you show up in your shimmering armor, right? Where you've overwhelmed them on purpose, and then you've come without them having to ask and cry out for help. You've come to save them. And basically, you answered my ad, you requested the list of homes in Cologne under $1 million. Now I realize now that I've gone through the list myself, it's rather overwhelming. And really my goal is to help you find what you're truly looking for. So if you could help me, help you in a sense, right? If you could let me, are you looking for strata? Are you looking for, fully detached freehold? What are you looking for so that I can compile a list more appropriate to what you're looking for? And the beauty of it is, you can run an ad out there, and as soon as somebody clicks in and requests it, you can set that up for them right quick. And then you get to see through MLS when they've logged in and first viewed it. Now you can be timely. As soon as they log in and see that list, now I'm reaching back to them. almost immediately, within a few hours or within a day or so. Hey, I noticed you accessed that list. I went to check it out myself. Oh boy, 50 properties in our area that match that description. You know, I'd like to cut this down to a top 5 list for you. How can we do that? Right?
Yeah. And then we got some questions. Do they have these funnels already set up? Absolutely. Do we have drip email? Absolutely. Do we have text messaging? Absolutely. But you know what? They're boring and generic until you get in there and put yourself in it.
And you know what? Another thing is I take that, what Marcus just said, and I don't have any of that set up. If you are like, I just felt it was so overwhelming when Jen actually dug in and actually set up everything in StreetText. My leads basically go zapped right into my Chime database. And that's where all my smart plans are coming out. And that's where I have really, because I wanted to make sure that all my lead sources get all this information with my smart plans, right? So I went to the main database and I just did everything there. I updated my videos there. I updated my smart plans over there and really catered to them, just like Jen is doing here in StreetText. So again, it doesn't matter where you do it, just get it done. And, build a system around it. That's one thing I can tell you: systems, tools, tech, and leverage. That is where I built my team. As a single agent, Jenifer is really getting there, and I'm looking forward to it, Jen, where we can both brainstorm together. But I think the best thing to do as you're growing, don't get so scared and leave the leads alone. Focus on the leads and start leveraging and building out systems. And we do it every day.
Work smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
And systems like integrations, right? Because everybody's want to does it work with follow-up us? Does it work with Chime? Does it work with KV Core? It works with everything. I mean, ultimately you got to figure out whether you want to use email parsing or you want to do Zapier. So, a lot of the most popular integrations you'll hear of as well that add value as far as integrations are concerned are things like HomeBot, BombBomb, a big part of that, because when you get that automatic email set up, because we have an entire sequence, like in your settings, we have email drip, we have SMS features, and they're all automatically a 9-month-long drip campaign already built in for you for the seller side. Text messaging already built up. All designed to initiate the conversation, but the way you want to design it is so that the moment they get into their inbox, they're going to get to experience you. And then, I'll give you an example because everybody wants to see, well, what does that look like? What does that feel like? For example, this one would be more that you're what you're sending afterwards, right, Jenifer? And we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah,
what's that?
When I send with the CMA.
With the CMA. So for like an example of an intro, I'll share with you a good intro one that I like, because it's just got to fit your personality. It's got to fit. There's no one way to do this. It's got to be something you would say, or you're not going to say. You're not going to say what Jenifer says. You're not going to say what Janky says. You're not going to do what Logan does or what Marcus does. You're going to do what you would say, because it's up to you to create that experience and narrate that experience the way that you want them to connect with you. So here's a great example of that. Here's Wendy from Las Vegas, and she's all about just connecting back on Facebook. So this is what I like. It's short, sweet, and gives you a good idea of what's possible.
Now, another thing, Jen, you were about to say.
Wendy with LV Sweet Homes Realty, and I got your request online through my Facebook link to find the value of your home, and I am on it. I just wanted to check in and see if there's anything awesome you did to the property, any upgrades or improvements. If so, shoot me an email so that I have that information for the special report I'm working on for you. And then we'll go from there. And then if you want to get to know me, you can click on my Facebook link below and check me out. So anyway, I'm gonna get to work. So I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, one thing I want to add to this. You have automated emails going out like this, but those emails are only getting opened up, let's say 50% of the time. Okay. Now, with that being said, what would you do to get that email open 90% of the time? To get that video played 90% of the time? Jenifer, take it away.
I resend. I track it through BombBomb. My email open rate for my CMAs are 90%, 95%, because if they don't open something in 12 hours, you and I both know nobody's going back to check their old emails. Typically, that doesn't happen. So I just resend it the next day because obviously they missed it. And if they don't answer it, I change up the subject line and resend it, and I get my open rates every time.
So functionally, how do you do that? Do you use something called a snippet?
I do. I use a snippet. That's right, Marcus. Take it away.
All right. So
Objection, leading the witness.
Seriously, guys.
I was just about to say that, Logan, and you came.
all right. So the beauty behind snippets is there are all these pre-canned responses that you already have ready to go that you've created, and they're really easy to actually make once you make it once. You just kind of add it in just like I did here, and then you're going to resend it to that personal email with a quick, just slightly different question or answer or subject line. And then once you do that, it's awesome because now you get the tracking mechanism installed. And for me, that's everything. The open, the watch, the click, of course, if you want them to connect with you on Facebook, you want to analyze that click, and of course the response. And so filters that show you opens, plays, clicks, sends, likes, comments, all that stuff, you want to be, just like you're going to spend so much time focusing on your cost per lead, I would actually spend more time focusing on your cost per reply, cost per click, cost per video play. That's everything. That's them getting to get to know you and meet you.
And you know what we do? We do it a little. Brian, you were saying something. Sorry.
I was just going to ask Marcus to cover what snippets are, but why don't you, and how to create them, because I think it's relatively simple. But Janky, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Brian. Marcus, let's talk about snippet real quickly.
Okay, so it's super easy to do. You basically just take the one email that you're going to do for the first time when you go to compose an email, and then you just hover your mouse over it. This is if you're using BombBomb, for example. And then there's a little button that comes up that says save. And then that save will allow you to go in there and create the snippet, and it'll forever be saved. That's it. That's as easy as that. So obviously you'd have your video, your links and everything. After you do it one time, you don't have to do it again. It saves, and you're going to have different snippets for different scenarios, right? And ultimately I think the queen of the snippet world would be Jenifer in the angle of like, okay, so you're going to get the intro, but what about the actual home value you want to get them? So take it away a little bit, Jenifer. Here, I'll play the video in a second, but tell us about this style of template.
Well, first of all, that's my old video. The dog video is my new one. Just FYI.
I know this is the one. I'm going to play that one, but this is the idea.
But the template. So BombBomb has a lot of cool templates, and I actually have a video on my YouTube on how to make this template. But basically, the cool thing about this is, number one, there's embedded links. If you scroll down, Marcus, what I like about this is it allows you to have those buttons at the bottom so people can click and get to find out more about you, see your reviews, check out your website. Anything you want them to look at can be directed. Now, at the top, you see the first thing that I do is I find an image of their house. And just so you guys know, the strategy I use is to use Google View, because according to my broker in charge, that is a safe way not to infringe on copyright issues or anything like that. So I try to find a Google Street View. I know that's not always possible with rural communities, but usually on tax records, you can find an aerial view. So I find a picture of their home to immediately stop them. From there, I introduce myself and I let them know that I did a little digging about their house. I pulled some comps in the area. By the way, this process takes me no longer than 5 minutes. I have a video that is a canned video, but they don't necessarily know that. And when I'm available and dressed with makeup on, I do try to make my own personalized video with a screen share of the comps and how I found the value and make it more personal. But real life, I don't always get to do that. Underneath, I've changed it up a little bit, but at this point, I like to find what their house sold for. Like when they bought their house, what did they buy it for? The reason I do that is because the difference between that value and in this market, the value where they could probably sell their house for is vast. So I think that also catches their attention again. They start thinking about equity that they have in the house. Yes, like that. And that, by the way, you see how that just stopped me? That's an app called Make It Big if you have iPhone. If you have Android, it's called something different. But the point is you're giving them a range, but more importantly, you're getting them to stop and think. And of course, that video is their way to quickly have an introduction to you, your movements, your mannerisms. It's a great first impression. It looks very professional, I think.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about what you're doing here. So in this sense, you say 3 to 5 minutes it takes you. I'll play this in a second, but it looks like you're saying something about what their home last sold for with concessions and what you think their home could position for in the market today in that particular area.
That's right. And the reason I do that is because I used to do the internet's best guess, and I would put what Zillow thought their house was worth, or Redfin, or whatever. But I realized that not only are those values oftentimes wrong, but they're very close maybe to where I am trying to, show that I could position their house on the market for. So for the wow factor, and to not lead them to other competitors and other people that they can redirect their attention to, I like to just go for what they purchased their house for, which in my area at least is readily available. If you look at MLS or you look at tax records, what I like about MLS is it will show you how they bought it with any kind of loan. It'll tell you what they paid for it, if they got a home warranty, and if there was any concessions. So I throw that in there, and I think it's impressive to them to think, wow, she knows exactly what I bought it for.
And I just want to use this opportunity just real quick to answer a question, I think, and apologize if I'm butchering your name, but Jamia Khan here, she asked, or they asked, I guess I should say, for agents that haven't used video in their introductions, is there a way to still nurture those leads and hopefully get them more resources and opportunities to connect? Of course, absolutely. And whether you're using StreetText or any other CRM, the recommendation is to make sure that you're not having, you don't want an overwhelming drip campaign where you're in their face too much at first, because then they're unsubscribing. Right? You do want to make sure that a lot of these leads, social media style, they're 3 months, 6 months, 12 months away. And if I'm too aggressive on somebody who's, say, 8 months away from ready to sell their home early, well, I'm not going to get them there. Right? Now, to not have video, yes, it can work, but think of it this way, just real quick, and I'll challenge you on this. Let's say I'm a wordsmith. I'm the most eloquent person on earth, and I can write up a immaculate email. Great. I'm going to write a phenomenal email that's going to be up to your interpretation when you read it. Let's say you stubbed your toe on the way to the computer. You just had an argument with your significant other. You're in a snarky mood. You read my perfectly worded email as, it's just what happens. So I can't impose my, what I want you to read it as. I can't do that through text. Also, now I'm the opposite. I'm not a very eloquent, individual. I'm somebody who I'm very clumsy with my words. I can't write an email. Well, how am I going to differentiate myself? Well, I'm going to go on Fiverr. I'm going to get somebody, more eloquent than myself to write up the email. Now, the two agents have essentially the same verbiage, the same kind of idea. You didn't differentiate yourself. Whereas, again, people want to deal with people. That's it. They're not looking for the slick Maserati driving agent. They really want somebody they can connect with. It's hard to connect with words. You connect with people. So it almost doesn't even matter what you say, to be totally honest with you. You want to just say something that's real in yourself. And again, the importance of video is that you get them to the 3-month email. You get them to the 8-month email. If your first foot forward lands flat, they're unsubscribing. They're not even if they don't unsubscribe, they're not opening your subsequent emails. Whereas if I have a good video that explains to them, look, this is me, this is who I am, here's what's next. They feel like they're in on the secret. They know what's coming, and they've met me. They know who's going to be in their home now. And if they don't like me, they don't like the way I look, sound, am, that's fine. We're both hitting the next button and moving on, but we're not wasting each other's time for me to, work 3 months, 6 months to get in their home and only, have them hate me then. Right?
Well, here's another thing also to remember, that, when you're staying so focused on video, remember, guys, we're in a people business. You got to make that connection. It's not only all about video, right? Yes, open rates are important. Yes, all of that is important. But at the end of the day, how you say what you say and when you say it to a client matters to them. Like, what conversation are you having? What are you saying to build that relationship up? It starts with a video, yeah. And like I said, Jenifer does it that way. I do it differently, to where I'm not starting with the video. I'm starting with that connection with them. And, when you build that connection, it really leverages you out. And that's another thing we have to remember, is that when you are, we're in a people business, like I said earlier, and when you are talking to them and connecting on a human level, that's what matters. But again, we start with videos. So open rates on videos is important. What we talk about, with people and what we say to people matters, right? So those scripts are important. Remember that.
And let me just add this about video real quick. I want everyone who's watching this, and I guarantee you, if there's 100 people watching it, 50 of them are scared to do video. How do I know? Logan and I were scared to do video.
Right.
How many of you would watch this if we all turned our video off and we just scrolled some text for an hour?
Right.
Not a single person would have stayed on here for an hour. Why?
Yes.
And I'll offer this too. How many of you, if I said to you, hey, by the way, you can be on television for absolutely no money, because everyone doesn't, why are we not on television? There's not enough ROI. There's video is free television in 2021. And
Right.
if you're not willing to do that, you can still be successful, but why not take the shortcut? And we all have fears, and your video may not be your fear, but we all have fears. Take some action and see how it works. And so I'll get off my little pedestal, my little
I'll
preacher
just
there,
double
but
down with what you said, because honestly, the second you put yourself out there and you're expecting like, oh, everybody's going to hate this video, and all of a sudden you get your first positive comment, or you get your first listing appointment from somebody who's interviewed 3 other agents, or at least is considering multiple agents, and all of a sudden you're the one who, surfaces because you're the one that had video. It's like, okay, this works. There's many things that, whether they're comfortable or not, that we start to do to further our goals and reach where we're trying to get to. And video just happens to be that one that, and Brian nailed it. I'd say a good percentage of realtors out there, people in general, are very nervous and not clamoring to get on video. But once you realize the impact it has to your business, it's darn near a necessity. I just have to say.
And you know what, Logan, it's really interesting because for me, the time I get nervous about video is when I rewatch my videos. I don't like the way my mouth moves. I don't like the way my voice sounds. And so I don't like how my hair frizzes or I have one piece sticking out. So what I would tell people, honestly, number one, biggest mistake is when you're in a scripted area, when you're standing like this and you're trying to talk. To me, it doesn't work. So for me, I'm sitting here, right? I got my blanket, right? And I've got like my natural environment, my hair's all over the place, whatever it's doing. If I send a video and I sneeze or I cough or my kid walks in, it is what it is. Send.
Natural.
Natural.
And that is what people, authenticity, right? That's what people like, even in videos, right?
People miss it. We're in a pandemic. People miss that. They miss the normal.
Yes, I totally agree with that. Yeah. And videos, like I said, with the open rates, I mean, when I did my videos on BombBomb with, putting the course together, those were being opened just with the realtors in itself. But when we did videos with clients and we're sending them out just to say, hey guys, today is our day that we're going to go check out these and this properties. When that gets opened, it's like, some sort of a excitement that brings within you that, oh God, okay, we're at a level where we're building that relationship, right? We're at that level where now, whether they're listing their home or, they're looking forward to seeing us, now we're building that relationship. Now, how exciting is that, right? Again, we're in the relationship business.
Right. And for any agent out there that doesn't feel like they're there, you're in the right place. Come to the LabCoatAgents events, come to StreetText, come to these group sessions, meet other people who are doing the exact same thing. Some of them are further ahead, some of them are further behind in terms of video, in terms of, lead gen, in terms of all sorts of things. But the more you collaborate with one another, the more you will improve and you'll help others alongside you. And that's kind of why, whenever we get the opportunity to jump on these sessions, it's so much fun to be able to, again, I love, any knowledge I've got, I want to impart on everybody, but I personally learn more than I teach, on these sessions. Yep. I'm with the StreetText coaches, right? And again, the things that we learn, we're learning from the people like Jen, like Janky, like Brian, who are out here doing it. And who better than these individuals to learn from, right? So
consistency is key, right? If you do one thing over and over and over and over again, you're going to perfect it. And that's where Jen is coming from. She does it every single day. Time blocking that time. I mean, you will get the leads, don't get me wrong, but what are you doing with those leads? I remember last week, someone on StreetText Insider, I think Marcus posted something about, hey, what would you say, to this and this person with regards to ROI? And Jen and I, said that, listen, if you're not going to do it consistently, you're not going to get anywhere. Therefore, don't waste your money, right? But I honestly think that it is time that we as entrepreneurs, as realtors, understand what and how to do this business. And things are changing every single day with shelter in place and COVID and all this happened last year. Look, we're here on Zoom, right? I mean, things have changed. So doing videos has been a massive part of our growth of our business. I think a couple of months ago, I told Jen, I'm going to implement BombBomb and I'm going to start doing these videos. I don't know how, but I'm going to do it. And of course, we started it, and we created landing pages within Chime. We created, just sold, just said, hey, we just sold this property. We've got more coming. And that was a video we did. Again, right. Brought people back to our site, and that's the main thing you want, right?
And talking about change, the one thing consistent on Facebook is change. And Kathy had a comment here. Looks like Jen was kind enough to respond to, but Kathy mentioned last year she did the trial. It became overwhelming with the learning curve. So one thing that I recommend for you, Kathy, and for anybody else, come sign up for the 7-day free trial. It doesn't have to only be 7 days. Don't run ads at first. Come meet with your coach, come to the training sessions, meet some of these other individuals. Jen and Janky, they're in our insider group. Come be part of the community, learn what you need to learn before you run your ads. That's perfectly fine. We don't mind accommodating that. Come, get used to the system, the structure, let your coach help you get your follow-up in order. Keep the ads off for now. Let's get the systems set up and ready to go. Then you're comfortable. Now we want to test the ads. Great. Now we test the ads, but your follow-up is in place and you feel more prepared. Don't allow yourself to get overwhelmed. You don't need to, right? I'm not saying that you wouldn't have been overwhelmed. It's something that happens all the time, and it's perfectly fine. But there's ways for us to help you and to accommodate this to make sure that it's less overwhelming. And again, it's like a fire hose of information to the face sometimes.
Can I say something really quickly?
Yeah,
I remember when I first joined StreetText, I was getting so angry at Marcus. I'm like, this is not working. I cannot meet you and do this mastermind every week. And I was not doing anything but sitting at home. It was COVID, right? I couldn't go anywhere. But the whole thing is, something tweaked in my mind when I went to one mastermind and the next one and then the next one. And I'm like, oh my God, this is something I can build off of and create my systems and write my systems down. And everything I did, I wrote it down. And that's how you build a system. You write it down. And then I started getting Marcus's help in building out those ads and learning more from custom ad class and going to this class and going to those classes. And voila, the next thing you know is like, I'm overwhelmed with leads, which is a good problem to have, right? And when it's a good problem to have, obviously you leverage it out and you do what you do best, is build that relationship and talk to your clients. And then we started implementing BombBombs, not at first, but after I saw Jenifer's examples and that, and spoke to Jenifer, okay, I'm going to get this done. And that's how we started. So again, it is overwhelming.
I think agents have to advocate for themselves, because I think that people have the mindset that so many agents are unwilling to share. But between LabCoatAgents and StreetText, what I love about it is when I have a question, there's a whole community of people there. So when Marcus, my coach, is not available, or I can't get in touch with Logan, I have an entire group of people. Jonky's a phone call away, and I call her, she calls me, because we've become friends. And the same thing happens with real estate. Honestly, realtors should be able to find contribution with other people, and it just be that way. There has to be a community, and if you don't ask for the help, you're not going to get it. But you know what? The one thing you can't say is that you're not overwhelmed by the number of leads you're going to get from StreetText. So the first thing is to come in, get acquainted with the systems, have a meeting with your coach, a one-on-one session, be a part of the group, and then that way when the leads come, you're ready, because the leads, that's not the issue, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I see a question. Sorry, Marcus, real quickly. I saw a question by Gary Paul saying, do I use AI assistant with Chime? And that's for StreetText leads. Yes, I do. I do have Chime right here. And when I get the AI, texting, I text right away and I connect with them immediately. And then from there, I always book an appointment right away. And yes, I do get conversions from that too.
Yeah, there is an automatic text message assistant within StreetText too.
Right.
Another question was about the Apple update. That's an ad killer. It is a killer. It's a killer for anyone running a conversion ad, which is really what StreetText is known for, the seller ad. So we have the workaround for you. We buy your own domain for that to happen. So if you look at Jenifer's ad and Janky's ad, they'll both have their own custom domain name, like jennifersellshomes.com. The beauty behind that is no one's now knowing you're running a StreetText ad any longer. When I click through the landing page, again, Jenifer Sells Homes. So we have the ability for you to go register one within StreetText. It's StreetText posted. It's nothing to do with domains you already have or use. We buy this for you. It's got to be through this way. And all of a sudden it gives you access to our seller ads. And what I think is going to happen is that anybody that doesn't have the solution, and there's going to be a lot of companies out there that, you know, quote unquote, tell you that they're going to get you all these leads. They don't have that type of solution. If they haven't worked within Facebook, like we have, we're a preferred marketing partner, and they don't have the solution, they can't run these type of ads anymore. They'll have to move to traffic, to page post, or lead ads. And lead ads, you can't really go after sellers. You have to go after buyers and listings with it. So I think this is going to be a massive opportunity for anyone that gets involved.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, also take note of this. You're never working on this seller's time, or I should say, you're not working on your timeline. You're so used to getting what you want when you want to get it, especially because of Zillow and all these other platforms. But these type of leads, you're working with their time frame. So if you're not willing to go the whole way through, like if you're not willing to start on the 1 yard line and go the whole length of the football field, then this is not going to be a fit for you. Because, you know, I look at one of my most successful stories ever that got started with us in about 6 years ago. Her name's Donna Swansea from Fort Worth, Century 21 Judge Fight. She's done a couple hundred deals from Facebook. And her first deal was 5 months into StreetText. So if she wouldn't have been patient enough to stick it through, and, you know, a lot of people start doing this for 90 days and they're like, well, I didn't get a deal. I'm like, let's review your follow-up. Let's vet all those leads. Let's talk about how many conversations you started. And did you feel like you were giving them an impression that was like, hey, I'm here for you, you know, whatever the time is, even if this means this is your forever home. I just want to be somebody that you can get to know and like and trust, so that any information that you need about real estate, I'm your gal, or I'm your guy. By the way, I want to introduce you to my network of people that I think you'd love. You know, here's my landscaper, here's my contractor, here's my title guy, here's my mortgage guy, like value stack.
Right. And be on purpose, right? When you get these leads, I know Jenifer time blocks, I time block, my ISA's time block, Brian time block. We all have to time block and do the lead generation, do the lead follow-up. That'll never change. What we do and how we do it in those times, and be on purpose with the leads, then only it's going to pay off. Otherwise, like I said, and like Marcus just said, it's not for you.
Hey, we never showed the video.
No, we need to show the video.
While you're getting that ready, Marcus, I just wanted to discuss as well, just real quick. Process is everything, right? So anytime you confront pain, right? Pinch points, pain points, write it down. Because if you run into something that causes you pain today, you're going to forget what that was 3 months from now, and you're not actually then making those improvements. So every single time I encounter something like, oh, that could have been easier, write it down, date it. Put a note in your notebook, and then you'll know, oh, hey, I encountered that same problem again. Oh, I'm continuously encountering the same problem. Maybe it's time for me to investigate an ISA or a VA. Maybe it's time for me to do whatever it is. There's a bajillion solutions, but you don't know what problems you're solving, especially when your problems are a little bit further spread out. So every single time I have a pain journal, basically, that anytime I encounter something phenomenal or something, not so great, I write it down and I date it. And then I rank them with, happy face, frowny face, whatever it is. And then again, I'm experiencing something great. I'll go back and I'll figure out what that was and how it correlates to my other times of my day. And then naturally you can start looking at your spreadsheets and say, hey, I had a really good month this month. What was happening? And go to your journal. What was good? I'm having a terrible month this month. What's happening? Right? Go through your journal, figure out what's good and what's bad, and document everything.
Awesome. Marcus, why don't you play that video? We'll make sure we get that in before we close.
Hey, you betcha.
Hi, Jenifer with eXp Realty, and of course my cute dog Roscoe, but your home report is ready. I worked on it. It wasn't automated. So based on the information that I have and that you gave me and Public Records has, I pulled the old MLS for your home. I pulled historical photos. I pulled all of the recent comps in your area, and I was able to develop a range for your CMA report, which is also known as a comparative market analysis report. Now, this is just a range, and until you and I can meet and either do a virtual video walkthrough where all we need to do is meet on Zoom, or an in-person 10 to 15 minute walkthrough of your home, again, free, no obligation, then I can confirm the value report that I'm giving below. Now, based on the information that I have and the information you gave me,
These are my findings of where I believe we should position your home on the market. If you're just curious, wonderful. If you are thinking about selling, we need to chat. So reach out to me by email, phone, or use the Calendly link below and set a time to chat with me. That way we can kind of discuss next steps. Also, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about the report, and I would like to just generally get a chance to know you. In fact, if you see a message in your Facebook message request folder, that was me just trying to get an opportunity to get to know you better and allow you to see my business and see my client reviews. So keep connected and let's stay in touch. Have a wonderful day. Jenifer Salter with eXp Realty.
Awesome. So we've got literally like 1 minute left. I'd love to just hear any final thoughts that I'll start with Jenke. You can go first and we'll just kind of go around and just some final thoughts for everybody watching today.
Final thoughts. Like I said, authenticity, coming from contribution, and build that relationship with that lead. Have a system, have a process, and you'll soon be able to leverage that out. But have a system in place, do it every day, stay focused, and you will see the return of investment with StreetText for sure.
Awesome. Marcus.
Do it with the community, collaborate. You know, that's the best way to do it. Don't try to do it on your own. Be around people that are more successful than you, and you'll be just successful.
Love it. Logan.
Come try our free trial. Come try StreetText.com. You know, the links are all in the chat section, but just come check it out. It's a trial. You'll pay for your own ads, but that's it, right? Learn from us. Let us teach you whatever we can, and even if it's not a fit for you, at least you'll leave knowing more than you came with.
Perfect. Jennifer.
I was going to say the same thing. Everyone that's here should at least commit to their business enough to try the free trial. And when you're in there, reach out to one of us, and especially your coach. And that way you don't feel overwhelmed. But, you know, everyone at StreetText is really there to support you. But you owe it to yourself to try a free trial.
Absolutely. Thank everybody for being on today. Remember, if you want to watch the replay, this will be on our YouTube channel. Here's my final thought. StreetText may be the best opportunity for people to get free coaching and connect with people like Jenifer and Jenke. This is an opportunity to build something. And I want to tell everybody this: go slow to go fast. And here's what I mean by that. Spend a bunch of time on the front end understanding. And how do you do that? You can literally get one-on-one time with these experts who will help you build this out. And it's a huge opportunity. I can say I don't know any other company that offers the coaching that you guys do. Take advantage of it. And it's a great way to build your business. So thanks, everybody. Really appreciate you being here today. Can't wait to see you next, and keep logging into LabCoats for our next webinar. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Brian. Bye.